been asked to do this very tough subject, basically. So this is an ongoing struggle for all the operators today right now with the existing network, future network. So I'll be talking on behalf of Zain KSA. And before we go any further, I need to talk a bit about my company. We've been a lot on the news lately. So hopefully it can calm down a while now. Just a few words. Zain was awarded the network in 2007. And we launched our operation in 2008. We did an IPO just a few months before. It was a very successful IPO. We were capable in actually acquiring 1 million customers the first 2 months of our operation. And another milestone, we were able to do our Murabah financial. And that was also another milestone. And toward the end of the 2010, we are EBITDA positive. That's another milestone. Clearly, you have to be aware that Zain KSA paid $6.1 billion for a license for third operator. So I think we're doing well. Another thing I need a bit to talk about the Saudi market in general. The Saudi market is a very highly competitive market. It is ranked #1 in competitivity in the region. We have a very advanced regulator. Clearly, we start witnessing a lot of price erosion, in particular on the voice and SMS. And operators are looking for broadband as a way to move further. The penetration of broadband is still low in Saudi Arabia. And there's a lot of way to move. Last week, coincidentally, all 3 operators announced the launch of LTE on the same day. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened. And we are witnessing a considerable increase of or emergence of the OTT player in the region. In particular in Saudi Arabia. I'll give you a small example. We launched social networking gateway services with Facebook and MySpace and Twitter. And clearly, we have to go to their terms. So the whole issue right now about my presentation today, how are we going to go further with those OTT players with the complete ecosystem in the market? What are the issues facing operator today? Clearly, the exponential growth in data usage and the dilemma. We got ourselves shot in the foot by going with a flat rate. So the alternative is what? Pay-per-use. That's another bad alternative. Which means what? I mean, imagine yourself having an iPhone without a data plan. You definitely, your bill will be going over the ceiling. So we are not leveraging on our capability as a mobile network operator to clearly provide value to our customer. So the ultimate way is we need to be in the middle here, between kind of flat model, where basically you see your cost is rising high and your revenue is dropping because you sell your price at $100, the competition will lower it by $5, and you keep going like this and there's no value. And your network is being suffocated, and you don't have CapEx to improve your network. And the other model is really, it's about bad customer experience because it's very costly to the customer. So we have to be somewhere in the middle. But how do we do this? We really believe that we need to start providing value to our customer. And by doing this value and be in line with the content provider. I mean, what is a mobile network operator? He's just about last mile. We spend billions of dollars on license, on frequencies, on equipment, on hardware, and everything. It's only to make sure we do the last mile with all its complexity. Today, right now, some OTT, Google, Facebook, YouTube, they came over. They did not pay a single penny for a license. And we are competing with them de facto. So how do we go from here? There was a discussion last 2 days, about some people wanted to be an extreme. They want to go all the way and block. We don't see this. You block Google, half your customer will churn. So, and at the same time, we don't want to be a dumb pipe. Because, eventually, all your revenue will erode, and you clearly be out of the game. So what we do is we need to look at those values. And how do we expose those values? So we at Zain, we are looking at some kind of new network architecture, and the gentleman in the panel kind of shed some light into it. So at least we're not doing this alone. Before we go on this, network operators have a lot of information. It's not just a device that have this information. But we do not capitalize on those. We know about where he is, about his usage, about how much he spent for the last 6 months, about what are the thresholds he set, time of the day of the week, the type of user, he's a postpaid, prepaid, advice of charge. The quota he's getting for specific type of services, whether he's for some kind of hybrid account, when he's postpaid, when he's prepaid. So there's a lot of information that we own, but we're not using it today right now. It's only used in kind of reporting mechanism. We need to make sure those data are exposed properly. So we think the best bet to go is to go in a service-oriented architecture approach. And this is what we call as convergence between IT and technology. They did it there, why don't we do it ourselves? We need to think about services, not about network element, not about platform. I don't want to dig too much detail into this internal slide, but I put it to say what we're implementing is a service broker here in the middle. And with a workflow engine, this allows us to create a virtual separation between our northbound and southbound. And hence, doing this, it will give us a better capability to expose our network infrastructure, internally and externally. And what we mean by externally, now we are going to cater to external party, be it over-the-top player, be it application developer, be it many things. And also, we have a lot of vertical elements that can make use of this and provide value. It's all about value, nothing else. Just to say that we're doing it with IBM, a typical IT provider. IBM WebSphere is supplying this equipment and the services. What does this mean, this service-oriented architecture? First, we need to provide a seamless architecture. We need to exploit our capability. We have a lot of capability as network operator, but a lot of it sitting behind so many different levels of firewall. Network firewall and human firewall. People who are not willing to expose this because of so many different reasons. This is a lot of wealth of information that if we can provide it the proper way, it can provide a value. And then we can eventually monetize it. We have to create this layer, this enterprise service bus layer, and it will act as an orchestrator. This word orchestration, that it's how to tie in your northbound to your southbound. With a workflow engine and a unified user experience. The most important part today, we no longer talk about technology, network element. From a customer point of view, he needs to be happy with your services. It's the experience, the customer experience. How do we measure this? How do we enable it? That's something, it's a big debate. At the same time, this architecture should be able to support development of new commercial applications, internally and externally. Also, another element here, we need to be able to integrate with our business intelligence. For example, somebody going to your network, and you are doing, let's say, he's doing browsing, doing deep packet inspection, and you realize that, this is a good customer, he is, or you want to provide him some below-the-line services, real-time, because the last 6 months he's been perfect, he's been doing certain things, so you can give it to him immediately. So by doing this integration in real-time could provide a lot of customer value. Again, I'm saying we need to focus on the customer. This whole sync architecture is to focus on the customer. And at the end, to be able to do all of this, we need to be aware of all the dynamics of the customer, be it his profile, his context, his location, what device he's using. He's an iPad user. I should be aware of an iPad. My problem with iPad today right now is that I cannot send an SMS. I cannot send a USSD. So I cannot ask him to go buy a voucher, recharge your prepaid line. We really should be aware of those scenarios to give a customer a good feeling that we know his context and know what we're doing. By doing all of this, we're developing what's called a SCIM platform, it's Service Capability Integration Management. It's a harmonized interface. We are providing a harmonized interface for internal party and external party to tap into our resources. We are virtualizing our network infrastructure, and we are providing this exposure through a unified, controlled, and secure set of rules. I mean, you have to be very careful as well, too. We cannot just open up and people will come in. It has to be very well controlled. And we have to identify the set of rules. This orchestration level will allow us to go fast to market. Today, name of the game, how can you go fast to market? And this structured method will allow us to develop and support new application and reduce the time to do changes. Our biggest problem today right now, any simple change takes a lot of time. And eventually, as I said, the integration of business intelligence and other ecosystem in real-time service control, the name of the game is agile, to be agile. And all of this has to do, how can I make money keeping the customer happy? How can I increase the share of the wallet, keeping my customer happy and he's willing to pay? Give you a simple example. He's a typical Skype user. I can just offer and say, look, opt in, pay 10 riyal. I can increase your, the quality of services on your Skype traffic. And you pay a monthly fee for 10 riyal. So to do this, I need access to all of those parameters to be able to do all of this. So the next step right now, we build an architecture, but at the end of the road, traffic is going through our network. What do we do this, and how do we? So we're looking at a different way of establishing this IP traffic and service inspection. So we need to start thinking about monetizing traffic in all the different layers. What are the layers? And different. We're talking about the different OC layer, you know, on the session, on the different layer that we do that. And this approach will add to the subscriber revenue. Let's a simple example what we do. I mean, we have to provide a single APIs when we talk with our different, this harmonization of the interfaces, provide a single API, will bring more partners on board. On the application layer, we have to be aware of the application. By doing the different traffic type, we have to be able to do different type of granular charging, be it time, volume, combination, on session, different things. We need to be able to provide this. And at the end of the road, we need to be aware of the access. Is my customer, he's sitting on a 2G, 3G, now on LTE. Eventually, if we offload to a Wi-Fi network, we need to be aware of all those instances and be able to charge it and control it and service it properly. The name here, it's a policy control, and it's a policy enforcement. I mean, if you look a bit at history, we've been talking about policy control and policy enforcement for the last 10 years. And it's tough for operator to implement this because you are going to dig into every single packet that goes through your network. And this is tough. I mean, imagine you are now implementing LTE right now, and you give quality of service to your customer, maximum download of 35, 40 megabit per customer. I mean, you need a big pipe to do this. So how do we deal with this increase in traffic? At the same time, you need to keep inspecting your customer behavior. You need to inspect the traffic. So we started from bill shock management to a fair usage policy to kind of capacity offload to kind of tier and quota. We are at a point we are providing like on-demand service now with the quality of services. We're implementing PCRF and PCEF with DPI. And the next level is, clearly, it's Telco 2.0. It's a two-sided businesses. Okay? And I mean, there's a lot of mumbo jumbo from telco, but clearly, I think to do all of this and to keep your costs down, you need to push your control and your decision making to the edges. If you wait to do your policy enforcement on your GGSN or on your GI interfaces, it's too costly. So you need to push it to the edges and cut your costs down. And this is very tough to do it right now. But that's something we're looking at for the future. So to summarize a bit, subscriber services to profitabilities, we're looking at a horizontal way of the different layer the customer have and how we say we can increase the share of the wallet of the customer and keeping the quality of experience. We need to look at different types of service, like on-demand provisioning. We need to look at service top-up, service bolt-on, upgrade your packages. So for example, you're a Skype user, you pay $10 a month, and you keep getting your Skype for free, but with a quality of service. You need to look at maybe upgrade your packages, give him he's in the middle of his session, and pop-up menu, you've reached your threshold. We advise you to go to the next level. So those type of things, it gives a good customer experience and keep the customer from churning away. Our biggest problem with broadband today right now, customer don't care about his line. So you buy a SIM card with a dongle, you can throw the next day and buy it from your competition. To keep your customer from churning, it's tough in broadband. MSISDN, their number is not relevant here. It's all about how your service provider is treating you. And we all know that for acquisition's sake, the original price of any data SIM card is much cheaper than renewing it. So customer keep buying and throwing. It makes much better. So especially in the KSA market, it's really it's a big issue for the operator there. And finally, we need to operate and orchestrate across all the service platforms. We need to take everything into consideration. I mean, I'll give you an example. If you're roaming and using your BlackBerry, and I'm selling you a package, all included, unlimited, I need to cut down my cost. So how I do this? I need to make, let's say, wholesale agreement with different operator. So I need to, part of my big things, my roaming steering has to be in the loop, because I need to steer to the other operator. Otherwise, it's too costly for me. So we need to take all of this into consideration when we build our services. And what's next? Again, we need to manage all our service delivery assets. And we are more and more pushing into an IT environment to do all of this. I mean, IBM, when it comes to us, to talk to us about their message broker and their iLog services and everything right now that allow us to do this orchestration, a lot of people say, what are you talking to me? That's not my domain. But that's something we need to build competency on board. We need to put all of this to make sure that we can go to the next level, in particular LTE. LTE is going to be a big problem for all of us. The type of service that we can launch today and all of this, we're not, I mean, we can do a bill shock management while roaming, service targeting, the top-up, add-on, bolt-on. You can have a single service across multiple network, fair use policy, different granularity here. We need to be very much aware. The devices, your application. If you're talking from your application today, right now, most of the things we don't know that it's your application who's talking in the back. It's not a front-end application. It's your application is talking with us. If it's context, real-time, postpaid, prepaid, we need to do self-care personalization, service assurance, quality of service, quality of experience, tough to measure, service bundling, and at the end, telco 2.0. And that's really we are building this environment, this platform, horizontally and vertically for the future. How can we provide cloud-based services and to be able to control it properly? M2M, embedded devices, mobile advertisement. This is absolutely a necessity to go further. We cannot be a dumb pipe. We cannot just provide access. We'll be out of the game. Sorry, what is this? I pushed it wrong. And to summarize, a few points here. The implementation of service-oriented architecture is essential to take us in the future and allow us to better monetize our traffic. Clearly, this SOA not just apply to broadband. It applies to all our transactions. We need to think from providing services to quality of service, and now we're talking about quality of experience and how to measure quality of experience of the customer. This service level of orchestration is very essential. And our traffic inspection also essential to make sure that we know about all the context. We need to push charging and control to the edges to support LTE, which is basically, it's a major challenge for us right now. As we are implementing it, your traffic goes from different places, how you're going to implement your IN, your BSS system, your provisioning to support all those different network access. Thank you.